Hey!
Hey, ja, hallo.
Ciao.
Bitte, wo bist du?
So, hey, ja. Immer?
Ja?
Hello and welcome to a special video. My name is Christoph Ruckli. Since March, I've been making videos about Corona on the YouTube and Telegram channel Anti-Corona-Depro, sharing information and connections that are not or hardly ever brought up in the mainstream media. In my eyes, the facts about Corona are clear, and what has to happen will happen. That is why I have decided not to put too much energy into it anymore. I'd much rather concentrate on projects like this video, of which, by the way, there will be a follow-up project. We are in the process of creating a picture book of it together with a painter. There are many fears and worries triggered by Corona, so my intention has been to encourage people and give them hope. The wonderful thing about this project is that everyone involved and all the helpers immediately and enthusiastically promised their cooperation. This has been a great experience for me and a model of how cooperation could work in the future. Now I hope you enjoy our special Christmas present.
Good evening. My name is Elisabeth Schreier-Puls and I am a pianist. I live and work as a freelance in Zofingen, Switzerland. The Corona crisis affects me existentially. As an artist, I have been unemployed and without prospects since March. Concerts have not taken place for an indefinite period. As a piano teacher, I was banned from working for many weeks in the spring without being directly entitled to compensation. And even now, the omnipresent fear is making my pedagogical work more difficult. Out of this personal consternation, I wanted and still want to understand the background of this crisis that is turning my life upside down. And of course, I ask myself what I can contribute to overcoming it. Around video 5, I became aware of the Anti-Corona-Depro channel. Christoph's work helped me understand and endure the situation. So I wanted to meet the person behind the camera and thank him. In September, I introduced myself to Christoph as an unemployed pianist. I told him, if you need music at an event, I'm there. In these months of artistic silence, I have become aware that art, especially music, is fundamental for the soul, that you can't live without, and that my creative energies are in demand for how I can manage to play in Corona times, especially since, as a pianist, I cannot just take my instrument under my arm. One answer is this project here, outdoors. Another answer is my own project, the Cultural Oasis. Private concerts on a very small scale, if necessary, with my e-piano. I come to everyone who wants to get in touch again with the effect of art. You will find all information at www.klavierundmeer.ch. The poet Eichendorff expresses wonderfully in Moon Night what for me the effect of art is. And my soul stretched its wings wide, flew through the silent lands as if it flew home.
Hello and welcome. My name is Peter Müller. Before Corona, I was an independent entrepreneur for 20 years. Corona has changed me and my business dramatically. If you are interested in this story, you find the link below the video. When Christoph Ruckli called me a few weeks ago and asked if I would like to participate in a project with music and a story, I agreed without hesitation. I knew him from his YouTube channel and had already met him in person at a public presentation. So I knew how he thinks and what he believes. The beauty of this project is that people support each other, encourage each other, and help each other. I also believe that in the future we learn once again to come together, to encourage each other, to motivate each other, and, above all, to think for yourself. With his head hanging, Mario stumbles through the falling night. It gets dark quickly and colder by the minute. He's alone and afraid. His parents tried to sell in town some handmade wooden toys made by his father and treats made by his mother. Unfortunately, with little success. In the streets, people rushed past them and did not get involved in a conversation. "Stay away from me!" and "Why don't you wear masks?" They shouted at them and gave them a wide berth as if they were lepers. At some point, father suggested that they try their luck at front doors. Unfortunately, that did not help either. Most doors remained closed or opened only a crack wide to chase them away with wild swear words. At some point, the whole family stood in the main square in the middle of the city like a lost pile, helpless as to what to do. Where has humanity gone? What has become of people? His mother asked, still stunned by what she had experienced in the past hours. A mysterious disease is to be avoided, which scares everyone to death, Father explained and added, I was at the cemetery just a month ago to deliver a hand-carved wooden cross. There are no more new graves than in other years. I do not understand this. It seems to me as if an evil curse has the city in a stranglehold and would suffocate all cheerfulness, friendliness, and humanity, Mother added, and barely finished, a police car with blue lights has turned the corner. Shortly before them, it braked abruptly. 4 officers jumped out of the car and positioned themselves wide-legged around them. No one noticed that Mario had left just before to go to a nearby bakery to press his nose against the shop window. Hunger had plagued him. The delicacies are so close in front of him, and yet so far away. When he was finally able to let go of the sight and turned around to go back to his family, he stood still as if rooted to the spot. 2 policemen just forced his father's arms on his back and handcuffed him. His father is big and strong like a bear, but the most peaceful man on earth. His sheer thighs apparently led the officers to handcuff him. Fearfully, his 2 younger siblings pressed themselves against Mother, and then the baby in the sling started to cry. Serves them right, said someone semi-loud, who had just come out of the house to the left of Mario. How dare they walk around the city center without their masks on, ringing all over and endangering us all. They should be locked up. Meanwhile, a police van has arrived and the whole family has been maneuvered in. From eyes wide open, Mario watched what was happening in the square in front of him. Unable to move or say anything, he stood there like paralyzed. Then the van drove away. It all happened so quickly that nobody noticed his absence. His parents and siblings were taken away like criminals. There are many people around Mario, but nevertheless, he feels lonely. 10 years ago, Mario's parents turned their backs on the usual life in society and moved to a small farm at the back of a remote valley. They were tired of always running after money, working to survive, and having too little time for each other. They wanted to live, not to exist, or to vegetate. To live, to breathe freely, to have time for the really important things, to know what's on their plates, and to enjoy the magic of nature. When they moved into their new home, they didn't take much with them, leaving behind the ballast of their old life. It doesn't take much to be happy. Almost a year later, Mario was born, followed by 3 siblings. He never went to school. His parents taught him at home. His father, a trained carpenter, is an artist with wood. He has made simple and beautiful wooden furniture, repaired defective ones, and prepared older, high-quality furniture for resale. Sometimes he went from door to door for 2 or 3 days, asking people if they had anything to repair. After initial mistrust, people knew his face over time and were happy to invite him in to do minor repairs. This year, he has received few commissions and has hardly been invited to the flats. The government has taken draconian measures due to an illness, which has deprived him of many earning opportunities. Almost overnight, the people have changed completely. Used to get a friendly welcome, then, this year, he has often stood in front of closed doors. That's why they set off for the city, hoping that people might buy a thing or two from them in the run-up to Christmas. Unfortunately, unsuccessfully. Back to Mario. With their heads lowered, people rush through the darkness. But he is not sure whether they are really people. They don't behave at all like the people he knows, and almost all of them wear something strange on their faces. Only their eyes are visible. The rest of the face is covered. It gives him the creeps. He's afraid of these human-like beings. More than once he has tried to ask someone for help, but in the best case, he has gotten angry looks. Most of the time, he has been chased away in a voice filled with panic. "Stay away from me! Get lost! I don't want to get infected! Why aren't you wearing your mask?" Nobody helps him. Mario is cold, hungry, and, to make matters worse, it starts to rain. He didn't notice how it happened, but suddenly he's on a gravel path that leads away from the city and towards a nearby forest. Without a plan or goal, he trots along until he suddenly notices a flickering light through the trees. Mario approaches carefully and is amazed at what he sees. Behind the trees, a large cave opens up in a mighty rock face, the top of which disappears into the darkness of the night. In the cave, 2 adults and 2 children are sitting around a fire. Dozens of candles are burning all over the back wall and immerse the cave in a mysterious light. People are wrapped up warmly and sit on white furs. Next to them, there are cups of steaming drinks, and it smells temptingly of soup. A deeply peaceful picture. No one is wearing anything in front of their face, and yet Mario hardly dares to come out of his hiding place. But at some point his hunger becomes overpowering, and he hesitantly approaches the fire. No reaction. They do not seem to see him coming. When he is only a few meters away, one of the 2 girls sitting by the fire looks in his direction and shouts, "There is someone!" Mario stops as if rooted to the spot and pulls his head in, expecting to be chased away. Nothing of the sort happens. Friendly faces look at him. "Where do you come from?" asks the woman as she hangs the kettle back over the fire. "I'm lost and I can't find my parents." Mario struggles laboriously against tears. "And I am cold and I'm hungry too." The woman and the man by the fire throw a quick glance at each other, then nod. "Come, sit with us by the fire. Marina Fiona will share a wooden box. Then our guest can sit on the other one." The girls willingly make room for him and curiously stare at Mario. It feels wonderful on the warm sheepskin. The woman spreads a warm blanket over him and puts her own around his shoulders. "So, now warm yourself up. Have a cup of hot soup and then we will see." With clammy fingers, he reaches for the cup and smiles gratefully at the woman. Like a precious treasure, he holds it tightly. Seductively, the scent rises into his nose and makes his stomach growl. He would love to pour it all down at once, but the soup is much too hot. The fire flickers merrily and spreads a cozy warmth. Nobody pushes him. They let him drink his soup. The first cup is followed by a second and even a third, until the hunger is finally satisfied. "There is some left. Would you like it as well?" the woman asks him. "No, thanks," mumbles Mario, embarrassed. Only now does he realize that the woman herself has hardly eaten anything because she has left him her cup. "Well, are you warmed up again?" the man wants to know and looks friendly at him. "Yes, except for the feet. They're still cold." Without asking long, the man leans forward, takes Mario's old boots off his feet and begins to massage them gently but firmly. Slowly and painfully, the foot comes back to life. Mario grits his teeth so as not to cry again. After a few minutes, the procedure is repeated on the second foot. At some point, it had to come. The question of how to go on. "What are we going to do with you?" the man asks in the round, without really expecting an answer. As he does so, he looks at Mario thoughtfully. Please, not back into town. I don't want the police to take me away. Again he has the tears first, and now he tells the whole story and how it really happened. Yes, these are bad times. Many people are afraid of this illness and forget that we are human beings for whom love and touching each other are essential to survive. When we are no longer allowed to give and receive that, we say goodbye to being human, the woman explains in a low voice, and the man adds, we tried to give our two girls as much normality as possible, visited their grandparents and let them meet with friends. But we had to be very careful. Fear reigned everywhere. Fear of illness, fear of business ruin, fear of reprisals, fear, fear, fear. For a moment, all you hear is the cracking of the burning logs. Yes, and at some point we decided to do something about it, the woman continues. We formed groups of like-minded people who met and discussed with each other what the future might look like. In doing so, we not only discussed, but also made specific plans, and in some cases even started to implement them. We were allowed to help too, Fiona interjects. We collected ideas for a new school. You wouldn't believe what came out of it. No one will be exposed anymore. No one will be picked on if they can't do something. And we will be going out into the woods and nature in general much more. This continues for a while. Mario is so captivated by what he is told that he forgets his worries for a moment and even, at some point, almost proudly, tells of how he is taught by his father and mother. Now the girls are amazed. But this is exactly the kind of school we want. While they are still talking, figures suddenly emerge from the darkness, approaching the fire and being greeted friendly. After having seen only people wearing masks all day, Mario is amazed that nobody is wearing one. It's good to see the faces, and especially to see people smiling at you. More and more people join in, most of them carrying a lantern or a storm lamp. The whole cave is beautifully enlightened. At some point, at least 100 people crowd together and chat happily. Meanwhile, the woman leans over to Mario, puts her arm around his shoulders and explains, we have been meeting regularly for some time now to protest peacefully for our rights. A special action is planned for this evening. Recently, they have also banned us from singing, but we will go into town and we will sing. More groups of people are coming from other directions and we will unite in a big singing procession. We will linger for a moment in all the squares and hope to bring this way some pre-Christmas love to the people. In the city, we will surely find your parents because they have been released, and if not, you can stay with us for the night. Tomorrow, we will look further. You do not have to be afraid. Everything will be fine. The woman exudes so much love, kindness, and confidence that Mario's fear actually evaporates. He feels that she's telling the truth. On Mario's other side, the man gets on his box and starts talking to those present. He welcomes them, explains what they will do and how they should behave. At the very end he says, "We are peaceful in any case. If someone insults us, we will give him a smile from the bottom of our hearts. He is in dire need of it. If someone threatens us, we move very close together and just keep singing. If someone wants to join us, we welcome them with open arms." The fire is extinguished. The things are packed together and stowed in the back corner of the cave. Then the train of lights slowly starts to move. Shortly before the first houses, someone starts singing, and immediately the others join in. Mario has never felt anything like this before, such a strong connection with each other, a feeling of being carried and protected. It's beautiful. Between the songs, they walk silently for a few steps, and Mario hears singing from other directions. The feeling of heaviness and oppressiveness he has felt all day is blown away, gone. It feels as if the city could breathe freely again. The first window and doors open. Curious people look out, and you can see that they do not understand what is going on. But no door and not a single window closes again. It is as if the singing wakes the people in the houses from a nightmare and brings them back to their senses. Not a swear word is spoken. When Mario turns around once, he notices that their human train has grown considerably and is constantly adding more people. But then it happens. Across the alley in front is a police unit in combat uniform, and over a megaphone comes the announcement, "This is the police. This is an unauthorized rally. It must be stopped immediately. Otherwise, we will be forced to take the necessary measures." Undeterred, the singing human train continues its way and slowly approaches the police barrier. Again a call comes over the megaphone, and again the people do not let themselves be put off. Singing, they continue to walk towards the officials. "This is your final warn." In the middle of the phrase, the megaphone falls silent. A police officer tore it out of the speaker's hand and threw it to the ground. Next came his shield and then his helmet. With a firm step, he walks towards the singing train and joins in. Only a few more steps separate the police and the human train. Then, more shields rumble to the ground and the police barrier dissolves. Some police officers turn around and simply walk away. Most of them join the train. The closer they get to the main square, the louder the singing from the other directions get, and the moment when he turns the corner and sees the square in front of him, Mario will never forget. Singing people from all directions stream into the square and unite to form a large crowd. Cheering and jubilant, they fall into each other's arms. As if they could feel the magic of the moment, the church bells begin to ring. Then someone starts a song, and like a wave, the song spreads over the whole square. Even more windows and doors open, more people peer out, and even more join in and are friendly welcomed. No one wears a mask. It is as if the singing had taken an evil curse from the city and made the people become again what they really are: feeling, loving people.